I think what we've observed over the last year is that in issue after issue after issue, the podcastariat has been radically out of touch with where the vast majority of MAGA voters, Trump voters, Republicans are at. So what you have in America, particularly when it comes to an issue like anti-Semitism, is this has always been relegated to the elites. Since the founding of this country, there was something in the soil that just rejected the idea of hating Jews. There were Jews here since 1654, and in one of the massive betrayals, American Jews see themselves as an immigrant community when actually we were inextricably part of the founding of this country. That elite discourse has trickled down in a very big way on the left. So the mainstream Democratic voter is very deeply influenced by their mainstream media. The same cannot be said about the right, where the content creator class, which was a very welcome breakaway from the mainstream media, which is so liberal and so anti-Trump and so anti-MAGA and so anti-religious, anti-American, that podcast sphere is just so totally divorced from where average people are at. And you see this come up on Israel, you see it come up on Epstein, you see it come up on Iran, you see it come up on foreign policy again and again and again, where the people who claim to be the influencers of the right simply have no influence, neither on the president nor on his voters. And the polling just keeps bearing this out. And honestly—
Give us your data points on that.
Okay. Let's take the war in Iran, right? Something everybody's talking about right now. I think it's safe to say that the majority of the podcast world is very against it. There's a lot of talk and chatter about this being Israel's war. You hear this a lot on the podcast sphere. I can't think of a single sort of content creator, podcaster, aside from Ben Shapiro, who sort of supports the war. Okay, so we have polling. How do Republicans feel about this? Well, the polling shows that between 80 and 90% of Republicans back the president's war. So the mainstream media is too happy to take the podcaster's word for it that there's a MAGA divide. But if you look at people who call themselves MAGA Republicans, the numbers are even higher. 90% support for the war, 93% support for U.S.-Israel alliance. That's not a divide. That's a divide between the podcasters and the content creators and then the mainstream voters.